Do you guys have any stories about your grandparents that you'd like to tell us?
You know, I wish I had more memory and more recollection of all the stories.
Well, of course I wanted to know her story. I wanted to know how she and Grandpa met.
I never really got to talk to my grandparents about what they did. It was mostly focused on the present, what was happening now.
I heard that story over and over again.
I heard that he was brought into war.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they had a pretty rough youth and young adulthood with the war.
Because to us, it's a story. It's only a story.
They always teach us manners. Yeah. Always cross your legs and stuff like that.
How to write, how to walk, got a lot of those lessons, how to eat.
I remember as I left for college, my grandfather said, John, bring honor to our family name. And I was like, I will, I'll do my best, yeah.
When I was speaking with my grandfather not too long ago, just getting to understand him, and we walked in the park every day, he and I.
Now we come to rest a while.
Yeah, and me just walking around the park and chatting about business.
Things are going and take a different view.
It's like anything else. It's difficult in the beginning.
It is.
Once you are in it, things are quite losing. You forget the trouble you have to go through.
That's right.
So he said, once you're in it, things are easier. You forget the trouble you had to go through. We know that Dad's family lived above the Rhenish Mission Church at 130 Dong Choi Street.
Hold on,
This is special fast ticket.
This is it. This is the street. We're looking for 130. Get back something. Sort of explains his nature, doesn't it? We've got quite a while to go. We've got another 2 blocks to go. Uh-oh. I see 129, 139. So it's turned into the market.
I'm the 8th child of a family of 11 children. My father was a merchant. I went from kindergarten to grade 6 in Chinese school. And then I went to the Maryknoll Convent School. And that was when I started to learn English. When I went to Maryknoll, he went to the LaSalle College.
I was graduating in LaSalle in 1938. I was studying accounts and business. First thing I know about accounts.
We never met then, even though at that time my mother was very close with the church people, and his father, also in the Rhenish Mission, a German church group.
That's it. That building right there above the bookstore is 130.
They knew each other, but we never met. So until somehow in China we just happened to meet.
At that point, both my parents lived in the British Crown colony of Hong Kong. China was the vast mainland to the north, and even though they were all Chinese, China was a different country. Life in British Hong Kong was very different even then.
The Jockey Club had a big fire. At that time, my father was not a Christian, and he was thinking of taking my eldest brother to the races. But a missionary came to visit. My mother was already a Christian. So this missionary came and said, "Oh, so-and-so, you should not go to the races. It's gambling, it's not right." So my father didn't go. Otherwise, he would have been killed because lots of people died. So then he became a Christian. Because this missionary was a Baptist, my father became a Baptist. My mother was Anglican. So actually my brothers became Baptist church members and did a lot of church musical things. They were always like the conductor of the choir and all that kind of activities. I joined the church choir very young. I must have been like maybe 10, 11 years old. Even in those days, my mother used to play the piano. So somehow I was used to that kind of situation.
The Hong Kong-China border was open back then. Families and businesses went back and forth.
Suddenly, in 1937, the Japanese struck on a vast scale, and China's battle for its life began.
Japan attacked northern China, which started the Second Sino-Japanese War, even before the beginning of World War II.
My father's business, which was in China, were totally destroyed. So for months we lost him. We didn't know where he was. And our church friends kept saying, "Hey, how's your father? Any news, you know?" And we said, "No news." He suddenly came back one evening. He came back wearing a Chinese long gown. Normally he was wearing Western style clothes. So we thought, he was like a ghost to us. He lost everything. So it was very hard life. He just got sick until he finally died. My father died in poverty. He had some apartments in Hong Kong because he couldn't pay anymore, so the bank just took it. He had to sign over. I was maybe 16, 1938. And my brothers, the one in Singapore, he was very dutiful. Every month he sent money home to support us. It was 1941 that I graduated from the Marino Convent School. I started working at a dentist's office. I was getting to go to work that day, and it was like about 8 o'clock. Without warning, just suddenly just boom. That was it. And then I think after just a few days, they took Hong Kong.
Well, it may have just seemed like a few days, but it actually took 18 days of fighting for the Japanese invaders to force the British to surrender Hong Kong.
The Japanese bombarded Pearl Harbor the same day they bombarded Hong Kong. And because we were not prepared for war, there was no food at home. And what we had was only a very small quantity of rice. I remember my mother only had a handful of rice in a cooking pot and put a few Chinese preserved black beans to give it a taste. So it was hardly even porridge. It was just very thin. The Japanese soldiers would look for women, and we had to run from one apartment to another through the roof to avoid them. And we put ashes on our face to make ourselves look dirty.